Have you ever finished a book only to realize weeks later that you barely remember any of it? This happens to almost everyone because our brains are literally wired to forget. But I've discovered a system that changed everything, and now I remember 80% more from every book I read. And in the next few minutes, I'll show you exactly how to make sure nothing you read ever disappears from your mind again. A few years ago, I thought I'd cracked the code on reading more books. I was wrong. And what I discovered next completely changed how I learn. I dove headfirst into audiobooks, convinced that I'd found the perfect hack. Finally, I could read while doing dishes, driving, working out, and I was consuming more books than ever before. For months, I felt like a learning machine. Then, reality hit. A friend of mine mentioned a concept from a book I'd read just 2 weeks earlier, and I drew a complete blank. It was like the information had never entered my brain at all. Your brain treats background audiobooks like background music. It literally filters them out. Passive listening creates the illusion of learning without actual retention. Hermann Ebbinghaus discovered this over a century ago. We forget up to 70% of new information within days unless we actively engage with it. When you're multitasking, your brain literally can't form strong memory connections. It's like trying to take a photo while the camera is shaking. You're just going to get a blurry result. So reserve audiobooks for genuine downtime, walking, commuting, but never expect them to stick without additional effort. Think of them as your first exposure, not your final learning. Once I understood why I was forgetting everything, I thought I finally found the perfect solution, but this solution created an even bigger problem. I discovered Peter Voogd's mastery principle in his book 6 Months to Six Figures, and the rule was simple. Don't move to the next chapter until you can teach the current one perfectly. This felt revolutionary. I started taking detailed notes, summarizing everything, testing myself constantly, and my retention improved dramatically. But something else happened. I was spending like 3 hours on chapters that used to take like 30 minutes. And books that should have taken a week were now taking a month. I was learning more, but reading less. Perfect retention isn't worth it if it kills your momentum. The sweet spot isn't perfect understanding, it's consistent progress with solid comprehension. Cognitive science shows that 80% retention with consistent exposure beats 100% retention with sporadic reading. Your brain builds knowledge through repetition over time, not through single perfect sessions. Plus, many concepts only make sense after you've encountered them multiple times in different contexts. Aim for good enough understanding on your first pass. Take quick notes on key insights, but don't obsess over perfection. Trust that important concepts will resurface and solidify over time. This realization led me to experiment with something that seemed almost too simple to work. The results shocked me. Frustrated with my slow progress, I grabbed a physical copy of the same book I'd been struggling through as an audiobook. Within minutes, something clicked. I was moving through concepts faster, grasping ideas more clearly, and most importantly, I could instantly revisit anything that didn't make sense. What used to take me an hour of rewinding and re-listening, I can now handle in 10 minutes of strategic rereading. Reading gives you control that listening never can. Visual reading allows instant navigation, variable speed, and immediate reinforcement of key concepts. Your brain processes visual information differently than auditory information. And according to Baddeley and Hitch's working memory model, auditory information only lasts 3 to 5 seconds in your working memory unless actively rehearsed. But visual information, your eyes can instantly jump back to reinforce what you just read, creating stronger neural pathways on the spot. Use reading as your primary learning method for important books. Treat speed as a feature, not a bug. You can always slow down or revisit sections that matter most. Reading was faster, but I discovered something that made it even more powerful. The secret wasn't choosing between methods, it was combining them. Even while reading, my mind would sometimes wander. I'd catch myself scanning words without processing meaning, reading on autopilot. That's when I tried something unconventional. I opened the physical book and played the audiobook simultaneously. The difference was immediate. My wandering mind snapped to attention. Every word felt more vivid and more meaningful. It was like the difference between watching a movie on a phone versus an IMAX. 2 input channels create exponentially stronger memory than one. Simultaneous reading and listening forces complete mental engagement while leveraging dual coding theory. Alan Pavio's dual coding theory explains this perfectly. When you process the same information through both visual and auditory channels, your brain creates multiple retrieval pathways. It's like having 2 different keys to the same lock. If one fails, the other works. For most important books, sync up the physical text with the audiobook. Use this method when you need maximum retention, not for casual reading. The investment is worth it for books that will impact your life or career. This system was working beautifully, but I made one crucial mistake that nearly ruined everything. Here's what I learned about sustainable learning. Armed with my new retention methods, I became obsessed with optimization. I created elaborate note-taking systems, scheduled rigid reading blocks, and pressured myself to extract maximum value from every page. Reading became work, the same kind of joyless grind I'd hated in school. And within weeks, I was avoiding my books. My beautiful system was useless because I wasn't using it. Sustainable systems beat perfect systems every time. The best reading system is the one you'll actually use consistently, not one that delivers perfect results occasionally. Neuroscience research from the University of Illinois reveals that sustained focus naturally declines after 50 minutes. But more importantly, enjoyment and curiosity activate the brain's reward system, making information more likely to stick. When reading feels forced, stress hormones actually interfere with memory formation. So build flexibility into your system. Use audiobooks for easy days when motivation is low. Use dual channel reading for important concepts. Use quick physical reading for general knowledge. And always prioritize consistency over perfection. But the truth is, retention comes from matching your method to your energy, your goals, and your circumstances. Some days you'll have the focus for deep dual channel reading. Other days, an audiobook during your commute is exactly right. I went from forgetting entire books to remembering the key insights from almost everything I read these days. Not because I found some secret technique, but because I built a flexible system that works with my brain, not against it. Your reading doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be consistent. And if you want to take this even further, I've created a video on 6 ridiculously effective learning exercises. If you want to watch that video, it's right here. Keep learning, keep growing, keep going, and I'll see you in the next video.